Stephen, welcome. Thank you for being with us today.
You're welcome.
So just going to dive in right at the beginning because I know that you're someone who has taught online a lot and someone who actually got a lot of enjoyment out of it. One of the few people when we moved online in the spring who was unfazed by the rush of it. So what is it that you enjoy about teaching online?
One of the best aspects of the online teaching is that it forces something which I've been trying to do more in the face-to-face classes, and that is to move the straightforward lecturing out of the classroom and get that done beforehand. And so the fact that the students can look at those lectures in advance, I go into the classroom expecting, hey guys, you're expected to have looked at this already. Now, having said that, there are almost always some topics which are slightly trickier, and it's worthwhile going back. And yes, in effect, it is a repetition of what the online lecture is, but then the online lecture is a repetition of what's in the book. The book's a repetition of what's elsewhere. And repetition, if it's not taken to excess, is good.
I totally agree with you. I think it's actually one of my favorite things is if I know I'm going to cover something that's a big piece of content that we'll visit with a lot, so maybe a theory or a big framework, being able to give them that asynchronous chance to work with that and then seeing some of the questions that pop up means that my synchronous session is so much more valuable because they're bringing to me the gaps in understanding and they're bringing to me the thing that they totally clicked with or the thing they totally missed. So what is something that you think everybody who's brand new, right? Because there are some faculty who haven't taught yet in the online space and are just starting this journey in the midst of extremely trying times anyway. So what would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
I've actually created a work program and said, look, this is what you're expected to do. This is how long it's expected to take. So watching the video lectures, reading the book and I actually structure it as an audit program, which I used to have to fill in and sign and date when I was working for Arthur Andersen, whatever it was, 40 years ago.
Absolutely, Stephen. I totally agree. And I think a work rhythm is sort of a secret weapon for faculty sometimes and making sure that the students know what's expected of them, but also that the faculty are aware of the work they're assigning. So I'd be thrilled if you could walk us through the work program that you developed.
Okay, happy to. So this is a work program for the managerial accounting course in the online MBA program, and got the first page general introduction saying, hey, it's going to take you 75 hours. It's supposed to be a 2-credit course and general discussion. And then the program itself, as I say, is very much based on an audit work program that I used to use when I was in public accounting many, many decades ago. And so it's specifically, these are the things you do. And an audit program has certain steps. It had a certain amount of, I think it did have time estimated to complete. And most importantly, because it was an audit program, you actually had to sign and date to say that you'd done it. And so I hand this out just as a way so that they can actually indicate, so in the final column to indicate that they've done the work so they can keep track. Obviously, no one's going to check up whether or not they really did do it, but it gives them some idea. And the fact that I've broken it down specifically every element within the week, saying these are the videos, these are the order that we recommend you do things. So watch the video lectures, read the accounting textbook, have a look at the homework questions in advance, and then watch some more video lectures, review the textbook. And this is a fairly hefty week, so there were 2 chapters of the textbook. And again, review the homeworks. The homeworks aren't actually due at this time, but I'm saying they should at least have looked through the homework questions and come to the synchronous class so that they can raise any questions about them if it's not clear what's being asked. And then we have a pre-lecture quiz in the course as well, so that should take about half an hour. They should read the topic of the asynchronous discussion that we have and make one posting. And then the live class, which in the online MBA course is, well, for me, it's normally the Wednesday evening. So each module of the class starts on the Sunday. They've got some stuff. So really this upper half, I expect them to do between Monday and Wednesday. The live class is 1.5 hours on Wednesday evening. And then after the class, review the homework questions and then complete the homework questions for each of the chapters, which I'm saying takes 1.5 hours per chapter, finish off doing the asynchronous postings, and then complete the wrap-up quiz. We have a 45-minute quiz each week. And so overall, I'm saying this is going to take about 12.5 hours this week. And I say that was a fairly hefty week because there were 2 chapters. The next week, very similar, but about 10 hours. The next week, about 10 hours, and so on. And so the whole thing adds up to about 75 hours.
I think this is extraordinary. There's no doubt that you're an accounting faculty member.
Yep.
When I see this broken down. But I think this is something that's just such a tremendous asset to the students, because it sort of illuminates both your expectations of what they will have done, but also just empowers them, right? It's basically a checklist for them to say, okay, good, I got that piece done. I checked the homework questions. I'm on track. And I think we all know that that's such a good feeling, to feel like you're on track for something, especially in the online learning environment, where sometimes I think it can feel a little bit too independent, right? Like they have to figure things out by themselves. I love that you give this offering. Well, thank you for coming. And I'm just really grateful, because I think it's easy to hear the best practices, but there's something special from hearing from another faculty member who's been doing it for a while. So thank you for sharing your expertise.